Now, I've been a Unitarian Universalist my whole life, and as I often realize, I feel very fortunate that way. I remember learning about the need for justice through almost all aspects of my life. And with my family, I learned that social justice includes democratic human rights and regular human rights, voting rights, advocating for those who need a voice, and working for the disenfranchised. Mom and Dad taught us and showed us that just as we have the right and the responsibility to determine meaning in our own lives, we must work for justice and stand up against injustice for others. They modeled to us that we are all connected, that accepting and understanding that we are all dependent upon each other is our way to embrace that there is something greater than ourselves. And I've learned through my nutrition education and working with the farmers market that this is an area of outreach where I must give back to my community. I have the privilege and responsible to help empower those in our community who need to be able to have that space, and they maybe are able to make changes in their lives. And to give myself this space to breathe, I say often to myself the Atticus Finch quote, "You never really understand a person until you consider things from his point of view, until you climb inside his skin and walk around in it." And this is how I bring my time for action and my call to action. We know that food insecurity is an ever-present aspect of life for someone. And it's important to focus on food insecurity because it is the what. It is a noun. It is the hunger. But thinking about it for today's service as a verb, food justice shifts the focus to why and how. Why this happens and how to change it. A recent study conducted by the Public Health and Nutrition Task Force explains the emerging concept of food justice as a social movement and a set of principles. They state it aligns with the goals of social justice, of course, demanding recognition of human rights, equal opportunity, fair treatment, and it's the participatory and community specific. They saw 5 things of food justice: social equity, food scarcity, food system transformation, community participation and agency, and environmental sustainability. And I think we might recognize all of these are mirrored in our UU principles, particularly the first, the worth and dignity of all people. The second, working for justice, equity, and compassion, and knowing that we are part of the world community. Each of us are interacting. Their abstract concludes that current concepts of food justice are evolving. Together, these 5 themes, using the term food justice, embraces a more holistic and structural view of the food system. They emphasize healthy, sustainable, and equitable food as a human right, and acknowledge the need to address structural barriers to that right. So community participation and agency in food justice decision-making are critical for transformative change towards a healthy, sustainable, and more just food system. So to quote Jacques Duff, the former Director General of the United Nations Food and Ag Organization, hunger is not an issue of charity. It is an issue of justice. So understanding these issues of food insecurity is overwhelming. And at the same time, I envision working toward the ideal of food justice as a vital goal. And I know the Adams County Farmers Market is doing the good work to attain that goal. Their values align with the public health and nutrition study and our principles. Everyone should have access to fresh, healthy foods. Diversity, equity, and inclusion and community at the market are critical for long-term success. Community connections and partnerships are fundamental to the success of our programs, and our market contributes to health, wellness, and well-being of the community. And so now I am very grateful to welcome Reza to our pulpit.
Hi, everybody. Hey, thank you for having me. I'm really I'm honored to be here. And before I get started, I do want to acknowledge this is a powerhouse corner right here. Bob and Jamie and Rob, each in their own way, have really played really special and meaningful roles in the community at the farmers market, and we've really valued their continued presence and love and vibes that they bring. So these three people in particular are very special to our market community. So thank you all for what you've done. And also, I say this, but Jamie, not a very tall of stature person, but I do feel like I am standing on the shoulders of giants, because all the talk, all the data, all the successes that I'll be talking about today, don't forget that Jamie played a really important role in the beginning of all this stuff. Like everything that has come afterwards has come from my predecessors. So thank you, Jamie, for everything you've done. So I do have to begin with not good news. I hate to begin on a sour note, but so the first slide does highlight some unfortunate trends, but I think it's important to acknowledge some of the data that this is what the issue that we're facing. So you can see this is data from Feeding America. We have up to 2022. And you can see that in 2022, this is Adams County only, there were approximately 11,000, almost 11,000 people facing food insecurity, equaling 10% of the population. And in fact, the 2023 data did actually just come out. I didn't update my slide, but certainly the issue has not gotten any better. We're now looking at around 12,000 people facing food insecurity, of which 3,000 of those are children. This is Adams County only. Another interesting aspect of this data, if you look at the third line, is that 45% of the people facing food insecurity are not SNAP eligible. So people are facing the issue but do not qualify for the main source of government assistance through, quote-unquote food stamps, SNAP. And then the last line is also kind of interesting. The annual budget shortfall for every food insecure person to meet their needs would be around $8 million, which sounds like a very looming figure, and it is quite large, but if you take 8 million and divide it by 11,000, it only comes out to be a little less than $800 a year per person. So we're not talking about major dollars per person. It just at the aggregate, it is a challenge. So yeah, I'm with the Adams County Farmers Market. So the next slide, I think, is a good demonstration of kind of what Jamie was talking about in terms of food justice, transforming our food system. The important thing to know, and what we all know, is that there are a number of really important, amazing organizations in our community, all aimed at addressing food insecurity, how we can solve this problem, how we can help our neighbors. And I'm really glad to say that we have some really, really tight-knit partnerships with almost all those organizations. We couldn't do what we do without them, and we hope that we're sort of contributing in a way to their work as well. But the unique angle of the farmers market, I think, is I know I'm talking amongst friends here. You kind of know that, so I'm trying to bring some novel insights, something that maybe you hadn't thought of before. So this is some of the things I want to talk about. In talking about the charitable food system and how farmers markets play into that, one important thing is that I think it's great that through the farmers market as a vehicle for food assistance resources, you can bring farmers into the charitable food system without them having to donate their product. So they're bringing their transportation, they're bringing their equipment, they're bringing their property, they're bringing their skill and knowledge as growers to be able to bring food assistance and bring fresh food to people who need it, but we're not asking them to make a donation. They're bringing that through the aspect of being at the market. So it gets them involved without asking for them to take a hit when they're already, local farmers are not making a lot of money themselves. The other aspect certainly is unbeatable freshness. Again, these are products that they're coming to sell. Many food assistance avenues, while vital, do deal in largely shelf-stable products. And we need flour, we need pasta, we need, cans of shelf-stable food. But it's nice to have the option, especially for people who are lower income, to be able to buy the best of the best and the freshest local stuff that is available. Another important aspect is that shoppers are empowered with agency. Again, yeah, our SNAP shoppers, our FMNP shoppers, they're shoppers, and our vendors, vie and court their patronage. They're a very valued aspect of the economic impact of our market, and so I think that is it's an important aspect of receiving, and beyond receiving food aid, it is, being empowered to make the choices that are best for your family and for yourself. Another small thing, recently, last week actually, they launched the Adams County, or they revealed the Adams County Hunger Mapping project, so that they did a really comprehensive survey of Adams County and the strengths and the needs in terms of food access. And one thing that they found is that there is no weekend food pantry access in Adams County. So I hope that need gets addressed, and I know that our local pantries all throughout the county are working on it. But in the meantime, it is good that the market is open on weekends. So it's just an interesting little tidbit that there are no pantries open on the weekends, but at least the market can be open on a Saturday if people are working through the week. And then the last thing, this is where I really see the strength of partnerships come into play, is that the market programs, the market incentives can actually help drive greater participation in other programs. For instance, again, this same hunger mapping initiative found that we're actually quite low in Adams County in terms of SNAP enrollment. We're around the 60th out of 67 counties in terms of people enrolled versus who is eligible. So in other words, there's a lot of people eligible who aren't receiving SNAP. But if more people knew about the market's double dollars incentives and that they could redeem their benefits at the farmers market, that could help drive more people to be like, well, maybe I will sign up for SNAP. Maybe it is worth it. And the reason I think that is because we see kind of the converse. We're actually quite high in WIC enrollment. And I think the reason is because we partner very closely with SCAP. And SCAP, the team at SCAP does a phenomenal job at promoting not only WIC in general, but the benefits of the farmers market to get people to sign up, and it works. So yeah, I hope that the benefits of the market, I hope, will help people be more inclined and incentivized to sign up for these programs that could really benefit them. So the next slide, I'll just breeze by really quickly, but this shows the growth of food assistance resources at the farmers market over the years. Again, this all began with Jamie in a lot of ways, but yeah, we hit nearly $100,000 in 2024, and we've already exceeded $100,000 in 2025, which, when I look at this data, it shows me two things, which are kind of obvious. Well, one is that the need is growing, so the redemption is growing because the need is greater, and we saw that with the data from Feeding America. But I also like to think the positive aspect of this is that redemption is growing because it's growing in popularity. When people learn that they can do this and like, oh wow, I can redeem my SNAP benefits at the farmer's market, this is such a great deal, we see a higher redemption because more people are like blown away by how great of an opportunity this is. So that's all. The next slide is just more of a breakdown. I mean, you can tell I'm a data person. I don't know if you can tell, but I've got to work on that, I guess. But this is kind of important because this shows our 4 major food programs and who is benefiting from them. And I really want to underscore, you'll see. So we have our SNAP Double Dollars program, that's, food stamps. And we have about 212 individuals who redeem benefits at the market per year. Then we have a program for seniors, the FMNP program, and that serves about 324. Then WIC, like I said, from SCAP, about 316. And then the Healthy Options program, 779 people in 2024. That has actually grown this year. Healthy Options. What could that possibly be? Well, the next slide. So Healthy Options this is what I really want to underscore. This is a very, very special thing happening here in Adams County, and I think we should really be proud of the accomplishments and the impact that this is having. So Healthy Options is the farmers market's flagship food assistance program, and it's designed to benefit lower income shoppers in the food gap, which is that cohort of people, like I showed in the first slide, who are facing food insecurity but do not qualify for other government assistance, which is a growing number of people. So benefit cliffs, it's kind of interesting. Our dear friend, everyone's favorite economist, Milton Friedman, actually identified this issue, which is that our society's path out of poverty, the way we have designed the path out of poverty, is beset with cliffs, with snags. So if you're, for instance, I'm using some round numbers here, but if you are receiving $200 of aid a month and you get a $100 raise, that's awesome, that's great, you're making strides, you're growing your wealth, you're increasing your monthly wages, you can afford a little bit more, but that raise of $100 makes you ineligible for the $200 you were receiving. So then your net gain after getting a raise is negative $100. And this is an issue that comes up a lot. If you talk to anyone at SCAP, talk to anyone at the WIC offices, talk to anyone who works at the Adams County Assistance Office, and they'll tell you that people make $30 more than the eligibility rate, and they get cut off from certain programs. So the Healthy Options program is designed to help address this. And I think one of the strengths of the Healthy Options program is that it's hyper-local. The other programs I mentioned, SNAP, FMNP, we redeem these at the market. We have little incentives at the market, but it's state and federal programs that we're making better. We're adding to it. But if there is no state program, or if people aren't qualifying, if the funding is cut, then we're not able to do that doubling. We're only adding to what's there. Whereas the Healthy Options program is all Adams County based. It's all hyper-local. It's local funding, locally managed, and when we see the need, we are able to act more swiftly than some of the state and federal initiatives. The other cool thing is that in addition to being a food program, there is a lot of educational and community programming that goes along with it. So there's community potlucks, there's nutrition education. These are things that aren't necessarily required, but are opportunities for Healthy Options enrollees to be able to, to live a healthier life, and to also, again, it's community. I love the community aspect, just like getting together with people that you know, that you like, or who that you don't know and can meet. It's just like another angle of food justice that I think is really important, is that it's more than just the food, it's the community around the food. And yeah, I think that because this is so successful, I think that Adams County is being looked at as a model to help inspire other communities and other counties in our area to be like, this is something that works and that we should really try to do more of. And I want to make a special mention that kind of, again, what Jamie was referring to, that all of these successes come from collaboration and community partnerships. And so, these programs came from the collective work of the Gettysburg Hospital Foundation, of Healthy Adams County, of the Adams County Farmers Market, of SCAP, of the Office for Aging, is a huge partner for the Healthy Options program. So all these agencies working together are what make these programs possible, and what help, I think, create a more just and equitable food system. So the next slide is where I really want to underscore something really where I'm pretty proud of. I think this is where I'm kind of proud of where the farmers market is at, is because we just developed the role of food programs coordinator. So that's a staff position under the farmers market. Josie is our new food programs coordinator. She's doing a great job. And I think it's really novel. It's really incredible. So what is the food programs coordinator doing? Well, she is managing all of the food programs at the market, but then what is interesting is that Healthy Options and some of our SNAP programs have off-season corollaries. So when the market season ends, Healthy Options and SNAP benefits, like the incentives, kick over to Kenny's. And so even though she's an agent or an employee of the farmers market, she's managing funds and she's managing programs that extend beyond the boundaries of the farmers market. And I think that is what is, that's the strength of being, I wish we had like a $25 million endowment and we can just, I wish in some ways it would be cool to be a bigger organization, but being small allows us to be creative. And so developing, I saw saw this need. I'm like, there should be someone helping make these programs stronger. And the market was the place for that position to have a home. And it's been extremely successful. I just put some of this up here. Well, I put this up here because I just wanted to highlight, there's a lot of stuff. We have an inventory of about 30,000 tokens. That's how we manage the food programs at the farmers market. Then there's another inventory of about 50,000 vouchers per season. So 50,000 for the farmers market and then 50,000 for Kenny's. You can see the top right corner are the Kenny's ones. Then we have SNAP and FMNP. FMNP is down at the bottom right corner. There's just a lot of stuff. So having a coordinator to know it, to be able to smoothly communicate updates and manage those funds, I think has been really successful. So it's a lot of stuff is what I'm trying to say. So the next slide, I just thought I want to put a human element to this. I am a very data-driven person, but we do collect feedback from our SNAP shoppers every year just to see how they think about the program, what they like, what areas where we can improve. And I am glad to say that invariably, feedback is very positive. People are not only really grateful, but they are really amazed at the deal, and they're very appreciative of the quality of product and the atmosphere of the market. So I'm just really glad, I'm glad that we're trying to facilitate a positive and welcoming shopping experience for all shoppers, including our shoppers using SNAP and FMNP and Healthy Options. So it's good to get this feedback. And so the next slide, this is where it all comes to a head in my mind. This is one sliver, one small example of, again, a more just food system that Jamie was talking about. This is how it all comes together in a way that I think is really, magical. So we, 2 years ago, I think, we're glad to welcome Miriam's House of Hummus. So Miriam was a refugee in the Chambersburg area, and her resettlement agency had reached out to us because she was interested in starting her own food business. And so we worked with them. We worked with the Department of Agriculture to get her sort of in a licensed kitchen, and then she joined us at the farmers market. So already a very big success. She joined us at the farmers market. But then her first year, 25% of her gross sales were from the food assistance programs. So, I mean, imagine 25%. 25% could be in business or not in business, you know what I mean? Like 25% is a significant amount for any small business. And so 25% of her sales came from our food assistance programs. But, so not only are these programs helping the people shopping, but they're helping a small business, and everyone in the community benefits from the new option. Everyone benefits from the new hummus at the market that might not be there if there weren't food assistance programs adding that 25%. So that's where I really, and this is just one example. I mean, there's so many small farmers. Many of you have been to the market, you know, our farmers, our growers, our meat vendors, the eggs, the honey. These are businesses that might not be viable or might not be viable in our community if there wasn't the underpinning of the food programs that add this additional revenue. And this, again, this is the transformative food justice system that I like to see. It's like everybody wins. Remember the $8 million figure about that's how much would be needed to serve everyone's needs? If we had $8 million of food, that would be wonderful, and people need that and should be able to be able to eat. But imagine if it was $8 million of not just food, but revenue for small businesses. Like that is, really where you could really see some incredible work happening in terms of food justice and a transformative food system. So again, this is just one example, but I thought it was a really poignant example. I'm sorry, I've been taking a lot of time here. The next thing, maybe the most important thing, the next slide here is how to take action. Quick rundown. First thing, take a look at that hunger mapping report. It's actually very interesting. It came out just last week. I can send it to you. I should have had a QR code here. But it's very, very interesting, and I think it just gives a good overview of the issue and also the possible solutions for our community. Second thing, consider volunteering with the Adams County Food Policy Council or the Farmers Market. The Food Policy Council is really an unsung hero of food justice in our community. We have one of the most mature food policy councils in terms of it was started early and has really grown compared to other food policy councils in our state. So you're welcome to join the general membership meetings if you're just interested in learning more. I'd be happy to share the contact information. It's a really great group of people, and I think you could really learn a lot. And the farmers market, we have some really cool committees that we do some fun stuff. So if you're interested in being involved with the farmers market in particular, please let me know, and I would love to talk with you more about that. Third thing, also very important, if you are politically minded, if you're politically engaged, there's some interesting things, you know. So there's the government is shut down, the federal government is shut down, and there hasn't been a state budget passed for Pennsylvania in particular. Two issues sort of converging, unrelated to some extent. The state budget issue in particular is challenging, but it does create a little bit of an opportunity because there's a bill currently being considered called the PA Food Bucks bill, which if it passes would add, the long and short of it is, it would create a triple match. So instead of just doubling SNAP, we could triple SNAP at the farmers market. And here's another interesting thing, is that it does weirdly have nonpartisan support. You know, Torrin Ecker supports this. Jim Martin, our local commissioner, he doesn't have a voting say on that issue, but he supports it, and he advocated for it for his colleagues in Harrisburg. So it's nice to see that, and I think the angle is, well, it benefits farmers. You know, it would be a SNAP incentive that would be hyper-local to farmers markets and local agriculture. So it's interesting to see, you know, the sort of bipartisan nature when things are framed in a certain way. Anyway, so advocate for that, PA Food Bucks bill. And then the last thing, if you're able to donate, I will give one small, this is my last slide, by the way, so I'm almost done. Yeah, right, thank you, Pete. Let me give one little anecdote. We were able to do 4 triple SNAP Saturdays this year. So the first Saturday of every month, instead of doubling, we tripled. But then we got to October, and our budget was running low, and we were not able to do it for October or November. We were short maybe just like $2,500. So every dollar is really valuable. We were just that a hair's width away from Triple Snap Saturday. Now, obviously, if PA Food Bucks bill passes, then that'll be a whole other exciting opportunity. But the point is, if you're able to donate, Giving Spree is coming up. It really means a lot to us. There's many organizations that are doing great work with food justice. I hope that you will think of the farmers market as one of those, and if food justice is something that you're really passionate about, certainly SCAP, Farmers Market, Healthy Adams County Office for Aging. I'm forgetting, I'm sure, multiple, but please consider that if you're able to. And there is some information in the back. Pete's got answers if you've got questions. And I also, I forced Jamie to let me put up my trifold in the back. So there's information on the table back there if you're interested. I should have, we didn't talk about, if anyone, this is my last slide. The next slide just says thank you. So I actually do better with questions than presentations, but I know I've taken up a lot of time. So it's up to you, Jamie, if you want to give me the hook.
But maybe you can answer questions during
Sure,
potluck?
that sounds great.
I don't know. Reza will make you stand here and stay here and eat.
Yes.
And maybe
thank you,
during
everybody.
potluck we can
That sounds
get
great.
you the, because as